What's up, everybody? This is the MOBC, my own boxing community. I just realized I didn't make a post-fight video about the Spence destruction and beatdown by Terence Crawford. Shout out to Terence Crawford for finally making the fight. Even though it's 4 or 5 years too late, we got the fight. A lot of you guys are happy about it. Cool. I'm one of the guys where I like to see fighters fight in their prime. And then if they fight in the future past their prime, that's okay too. But at least they gave us a prime for prime fight, right? I made a prediction video and I said that I was going back and forth. As I honestly thought it was a 50-50 fight. And before I made my prediction video, I went and I watched Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia and Errol Spence versus Ugas. And a lot of you guys who know me know that I've always stated in comments that Spence ducked fighting Manny Pacquiao. Okay, it's not a coincidence that Manny Pacquiao's left-handed sparring partner goes 3 weeks out of training with Manny to go and train with Ugas. And as soon as Spence pulled out of the fight, Ugas was fight ready. There was no struggle with making weight. There was no having to take diuretics so that he could hurry up and make weight on time. No, he was already training, which leads me to believe that PBC knew, PBC knew that the Ugas and Manny Pacquiao fight wasn't going to sell that many tickets. So they promoted a Spence versus Manny Pacquiao's fight, and those tickets were already purchased. And then 3 weeks before the fight, Spence pulls out of the fight. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a clear duck. There was no injury. It was a clear duck. But that's okay. It's okay. Remember, guys, I said in my prediction video, I didn't like the way Spence reacted to getting hit by Danny Garcia and Ugas. Now, keep in mind, Danny Garcia was a good fighter at 140. Not too great at 147. Lost every single big fight that he's been in. And even had a draw in his first outing at 147 versus another guy who moved up from 140. So he was still fighting a junior welterweight just at 147-pound limit. And Lamont Peterson, who in my opinion won that fight, they fought to a draw. And so the illusion was that Spence was coming back after a car accident and after a long layoff to fight this big, dangerous fighter, Danny Garcia. Dangerous puncher. It's a dangerous puncher. Danny Garcia, big Danny Garcia, beat Amir Khan, beat Lucas Matisse at 140 pounds, and he beat a 47-year-old Eric Morales at 140 pounds. But he hasn't stopped anyone at 147. As a matter of fact, I believe he fought someone who moved up from 135 to fight at 147. I think that's the only guy he stopped. That's not a welterweight. So I wasn't all that quote unquote impressed. Ooh, Spence is going to fight Danny Garcia after an accident. This is a dangerous fight. About 20% of the boxing fans picked Danny Garcia to beat Spence. And I don't know why. But he wasn't going to beat Spence. But I did see some things in that fight that had me concerned. That being Spence not being too aggressive as he usually is. And the way he was taking shots, the way he would stop, the way he took a shot, and it's almost like it was his first time sparring. That's what I saw. And then he fought Ugas. Now, I believe that Manny Pacquiao beat Ugas. Ugas landed a lot of shots that was to the glove. And there was a lot of crowd reaction. Okay. Pacquiao needed a knockout to win that fight. Because had he won, he would have continued on in his professional career and would have continued fighting. And he probably would have fought Spence had he won. So they needed it to be Ugas. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Ugas, he's okay. Again, this isn't an ATG. This isn't a great fighter. He's just an okay fighter. We don't even know how old Ugas really is. Okay? They fight. And you guys know the round that I'm talking about. Where Ugas clipped Spence. Spence mouth guard comes out. And he stops to pick up his mouth guard. And then Ugas goes on attack. And then the referee breaks it up. Now, before he could attack. Now, let me just say this. And I know all you guys, if you're listening, you know your boxing. When your mouth guard gets knocked out, the action still continues until there is room, because keep in mind, they're in the middle of action. Once there is a break, once they're squared up and they're filling each other out, and then the referee realizes that the mouth guard is not in the fighter's mouth, then he calls timeout. This is protection for the boxer. That's not what happened. And then he clips Spence again. He clips Spence again. So now he already helped Spence the first time by stopping the action so that he could get his mouth guard in the middle of action. He clips him again. The rope saves Spence from getting knocked down. That should be called a knockdown. If the ropes hold you up from falling, it is considered a knockdown. It could be counted as a knockdown. We didn't get that from the referee. Okay. We also, when Ugas was going to go on attack mode, the referee saved Spence. Now, Spence is naturally bigger than Ugas. Ugas started out at 140 pounds, I believe. He's naturally bigger. And on fight night, he outweighed him. So Ugas starts running out of gas. Starts getting clipped. He gets hit in the eye. So on and so forth. And then they stop the fight. I said, okay, well, maybe this is a 50-50 fight. Crawford has a couple of fights. They look a little shaky. He gets knocked down in one of the fights. Then he fights a guy that's kind of like, I forgot the guy's name. Abanisha is the kind of guy that's in survival mode. And when you're fighting a guy that's in survival mode, those type of fighters can make you look bad. And he still won. He stopped the guy. So after seeing all of that, it's like, okay, it's a 50-50 fight. But now, as we're getting closer to the fight, the training, how they look in training, how they look in sparring, how are they, the fill out mentally, the interviews, how they look physical, how they're acting mentally. I started seeing some things in Spence. To me, I didn't see the proper strength training. I didn't see anything that showed me a proper game plan. Remember, you're fighting a guy who could switch hit. I don't remember Spence even fighting a guy that's going to fight left and right hand. Did he have left and right hand sparring partners? I can't remember. But I didn't like what I saw during training. I did like what I saw in Crawford. And I always said, even though Spence, I tell you guys this all the time, even though a guy is bigger, naturally heavier on fight night, when it comes to faster hands, longer arms, good timing, punch placement, proper footwork, knowing where to place your feet, Crawford is ahead of Spence when it comes to these attributes. All right. Derek James has a habit of training guys going forward, jab, jab, right hand. In Spence's case, jab, jab, left hand. Gets in close, body shot time. Right? He tries to get in and make it an inside fighting. Spence has always been the bigger man in his fights. And even though he was the bigger man versus Porter, who is horrible. He goes in there. He doesn't have any power. He's just swinging. Not good defense. He just tries to smother you. He tries to make it a dogfight, but he doesn't have power. Even though Spence is constantly being the bigger man. I saw some things that Porter was turning him. Porter was bullying him. Porter showed some parts where he was stronger than him. But as the rounds progressed, you could see that the weight, the size, Spence is taking over. And the fight was close. He got the knockdown. He got the win. Towards the end, he got the win by decision. So Spence is always fighting as the bigger man. And I don't even against Algieri, even against Porter, Danny Garcia, Spence is a big guy who we all know should be fighting at 154. So all you guys saying he's draining himself, he's having trouble making weight. If you're having trouble making weight, stop fighting in that weight class. We're seeing it with Devin Haney. He's leaving the division because he's telling you he can't make the weight, doesn't want to do it anymore. That's what we need to hear from Spence. But since we're not hearing that from Spence until after the fight, it's fair game. And this is the first time that you're fighting someone that you're not too much bigger than. You're not that much bigger than. And he has more skills than Porter, more skills than Ugas, more skills than Danny Garcia, more skills than Mikey Garcia. And what took place was a clinic. And whether you guys believe that it was a car accident and a long layup, so what? You should have fought 5 years prior to the accident. 4 years prior to the accident. And maybe we wouldn't see these results like this. I still think Crawford would have won, but maybe it would have been a back and forth fight. Because this fight wasn't a back and forth fight. It was a one-sided beatdown. And it's unfortunate for Crawford because a million excuses are thrown out there because you guys don't want to accept the fact that Crawford was just a better fighter all around because he used to fight for Top Rank and because a lot of you fans are on this pro-black nonsense. So you guys you was hoping for Crawford to lose just because he's not technically a PBC fighter and because he used to fight with Top Rank. That's stupid. You picked the fighter out of your feelings and not out of the skills of the fighter. And that's why you guys picked the wrong person. Remember, be fans of boxing, not the boxer. And all this, we want to see a rematch in 154. Why? If you're not going to fight Crawford at 147, it doesn't matter. Because if you fight at a different weight class, those titles aren't on the line anymore. Unless you guys agree to some stupid agreement like Maidana and Floyd did with the 154 Ricky Dinky title that Floyd had. We don't want to see that. But you know you can't make weight at 147, so stop fighting there. It's time to fight in the weight class you belong in. I say this over and over again. Remember, yeah, Crawford is a big boy, but he started out with at 135 and matured into the weight class that he actually belongs in, and that's 147. 100% knockout ratio at 147. Switch hitter, power in both hands, and you guys neglected all of that because you guys were all in your feelings about Crawford and who he used to fight for, and all you guys are just pro PBC. So forget the excuses, forget the accent, forget the long layoff, forget saying his eyes look glossy, forget saying that he looked like he was on some medication, forget all of that. Crawford was the man to beat him, and no version of Spence was going to beat Crawford. Period. Because this was a one-sided beating. And we can't even say it's unfortunate because we can't even technically say it's a great fight, great win. I mean, it's a good win. But is it a great win? Spence isn't a Hall of Fame fighter. Dogbo wasn't a Hall of Fame fighter at 140. I don't think Paul's still going to be a Hall of Famer. Gamboa's, this guy's going to be Hall of Famers. We don't know. But give Crawford his credit for beating Spence. And I hope that Crawford defends his undisputed title at 147 because he didn't defend his undisputed title at 140. Hopefully, he defends it at 147 against Boots, against whoever. Just defend the title. Just defend the title. But let's stop all this nonsense of giving excuses, to downplay Crawford's greatness. He's the undisputed 140 pounds, undisputed champion at 147. He surpassed accomplishments far more than Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. You guys got to place him if you want. He could be in talks as an ATG in this modern era of boxing. So salute to all y'all out there, the real boxing fans. This is the MOBC. Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay? This is the MOBC. Again, we keep it real. I'm a fan of boxing, not the boxer. And we'll see what's next for Crawford. Maybe the winner out of Charlo and Canelo. Who knows? But for right now, Crawford is pound for pound the best fighter in the world in this modern era. Period. The MOBC.